Now, Republican Congressman Mike Waltz of the great state of Florida, member of the Armed Services and Intelligence Committees, also a former Green Beret. We thank you for all of your service, top to bottom. Congressman, first of all, let's talk about need to know. Did this young person have a need to know?
I haven't received the full briefings yet, but I can't imagine, Harris, a 21-year-old IT specialist in the Guard, and that's not to say that our National Guard doesn't always need access to classified information. They do, but there's a difference in someone who can work on machines and then having access to curated products for the most senior leaders in our government, many of which apparently, at least according to what's out there, referenced classified code word programs. And Harris, let me just make one other comment. The president kind of shrugged his shoulders while he was in Ireland and saying, well, there wasn't really that much out there that was contemporaneous. And I think that's a common misunderstanding that I pray to God he doesn't have. It's not the information. For example, you know, if you have a report that Chairman Xi of China wears red T-shirts on Tuesday, that may not seem that important, but there may be only one source in the world or only one way that we know that will then be compromised, closed off so that we no longer have access to that information, and possibly someone may die. So it's the access and placement, whether it's apparently with our allies or also with our adversaries, that why this was so damaging. And we need to hear that from the president, not just kind of a shoulder shrug as he moves on to drink some more beer in Ireland.
Well, look, that was a cheap way of him saying, oh, well, there's nothing that can touch us now. It's not contemporaneous with anything that we have going on now. That is an abject misunderstanding, as you just gave us a firm example of it, of how intelligence is not just used, but identified around the world. Our enemies know that we're looking at them. Our allies know we do it to each other. But you're right. Maybe there was only one person between us and that information and that other country. And now that person is identified because someone who didn't need to know and should not have shared has done so.
And he is not a whistleblower. This kid is not a hero. He may have been an idiot and immature, but the damage that it appears he's caused is very real.
Yeah. Just one other thing. When the president says that there are no, it's not consequential, but there have to be consequences. Like, the law is going to take care of this young man who's accused of doing this. It's under the Espionage Act. They'll adjudicate that. But what about the people who allowed that to happen? I know, growing up military, you served valiantly. Chain of command.
Right. Yeah, that's another question that I have is what type of training did he get? I mean, if he received all the appropriate training, yet still did this, then that was, some type of malicious intent and deserves to have the book thrown at him. But my sense is this was just an immature kid in the middle of COVID trying to impress his friends, at least from what we know out there. But the damage is still very real, and there needs to be consequences, including for his chain of command if there weren't the appropriate safeguards in place and he wasn't properly trained.
Yeah, my question is, are those higher-ups giving other people access right now as you and I speak? I mean, it's not like it's a habit to break. Yeah. It was part of the protocol.
But we haven't learned our lessons. We haven't learned our lessons from Snowden, from Chelsea Manning,
from Joe
and
Biden,
from the insider threats. We spend billions on these massive security protocols, and yet, I mean, it is through the hoops you have to jump through to get a clearance. But yet, once you're on the inside, having this kind of unfettered access is just irresponsible, and that's something we're going to investigate from our committee.
We know, because of the types of documents that have been found in somewhat of a professional Easter egg hunt trying to go after Biden stuff. There are 1,800 documents still at the University of Delaware for authorities to get their hands on. But we know from some of those that he potentially took them as a senator outside of a skiff. Look, you and I could go on and on and on about this. Is this administration sensitive enough to even understand what's happened? That when you come back into focus. So good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.